For practice today, we're going to do a portion of it seated. So keeping a bolster handy or a pillow or a bath towel or a stack of blankets, just something that we can sit on later on. And then making our way onto our backs to start our practice today. And if you have an ample chest, this might be the time where you wrap that strap around the upper back or a scarf and then tie it just above the chest so that when you lay down, none of the chest tissue slides down into your face. It can be a wonderful, beautiful prop to use just to create ease here. But hanging out, finding yourself resting the fullness of your upper body on the mat. You might, in your mind's eye, notice the pressure of the back of your head gently resting on the floor. Maybe you allow your awareness to move down into the heart center. You feel your shoulder blades resting on the earth beneath you. You might take a moment to see if you can bring any ease there to the shoulders, any amount of relaxation, releasing any effort in the upper arms. Wherever your hands are at, to let it be comfortable. Maybe they're down by your sides, maybe palms are on your belly, it doesn't matter. As long as you're finding ease in this moment. And wherever the palms of your hands are, draw your awareness there now. Notice what temperature you feel beneath your palm and your fingers. Notice if there's any texture. You might notice the weight of your hand supported by whatever is beneath it. The sensation of the pressure of the weight of your hands. Drawing our awareness deep into the body, focusing on physical sensation, we get curious with compassion so that we're safe. All of our observations and explorations of our body are done with care, with gentleness. We hold ourselves in high regard during this practice. Allow your awareness now to travel into the low back, into the glutes. Notice what they feel supported by the earth beneath them. And then finally, noticing the sensations in the pad of each foot. What does it feel like? The pad of your feet, resting. Maybe you take a moment and notice the temperature of your feet. Without moving your feet or toes, can you notice the texture beneath you? Maybe it's soft. Maybe it's rippled. Just taking note, finding yourself deeply present with your body in this moment. From here, we'll bring a little movement into the body. So we're going to sweep our hands directly up overhead, pressing through our fingertips as we do. And then as we lay our arms up overhead, we're going to bend at the elbows, and you might grab the left elbow with the right fingers, the right elbow with the left fingers, or you might move your palms apart towards the forearms. Our goal here is resting our arms above our head, bending at the elbows, and noticing how the sensation in our heart center and our chest changes. This gentle opening of the heart center here. And as you lie here, Let your awareness now become consumed by the sensation of your own breath, your natural inhale and exhale in your body, without trying to change it. You might soften your gaze or close your eyes if you haven't yet, and simply notice your natural, effortless breath in your physical body. Each inhale filling, expanding, and stretching. Each exhale releasing, relaxing. And as you breathe here, witnessing your body moving, you might notice where you feel the breath as you inhale. What expands and stretches? Maybe it's the belly, maybe it's the chest. Maybe you feel your shoulders rise up towards your ears. Just notice here the natural breath, where it moves the body. On your next inhale, send your breath deep into the lungs, deep into the heart center. Feel the chest alone expand. And then once full, exhale, release the breath from the lungs. So we're leaving our belly still, inhaling again into the heart center, into the lungs, feeling the rib cage expand. And then exhale, release, exhale, nice and slow. Inhaling again into the heart center, filling it all the way up before letting it trickle from the lungs. Maybe you see how slow you can make that exhale before again filling the lungs and the heart center. Noticing the stretch as you do in the tissues, and then exhale, let them melt into effortlessness, nice and slow. Continue this at your own pace for 3 or so more rounds of breath, filling the lungs and heart center. Opening up through the chest before exhaling and relaxing and melting. When you're ready, you might settle back into your natural inhale and exhale in your body, letting it rise and fall wherever it pleases without trying to control it. A few more rounds of breath, just letting go, letting it be enough just as it is. Letting that precious oxygen nourish your body, saturate your bloodstream, to be dispersed all throughout you. Each breath bringing life and vitality. Your body always doing its best to work for your good. Whether we're conscious of it or not. The breath continues on. From here, on your next inhale, I invite you to this time fill the belly up all the way, feel the muscles stretch and expand in the abdomen. And then exhale, release the air from the belly before once more inhaling, filling the belly up all the way, stopping before we start to fill the lungs, and then exhale, let it go. Continue these deep, slow belly breaths, knowing you can move back into your natural breath anytime you like, but playing with, feeling the sensation of your belly breath here. We'll move from belly breaths, alternating from belly to lungs, back to belly with each inhale. So on your next breath in, instead of the belly, fill the lungs, fill the heart, feel them expand and stretch. Exhale, release the breath from the body. Before inhaling, filling the belly up. Nice and full, exhaling, releasing the belly, letting it melt. And filling the heart center. Moving back and forth. Each inhale, alternating the breath between the chest and the belly. And then when it feels right, settle back into your natural breath, your natural rhythm. Let it be easy. And then when you're ready, sweep the arms back overhead, the opposite direction they came, pressing through the fingertips. And as we settle our palms down by our sides, you might again press through the fingertips of each hand and invite the shoulders to scoot away from the ears before then settling our torso back onto the mat. From here, we'll find happy baby. So drawing our right knee up in towards our right armpit. And you might be bracing the outside of the knee with the hand. You might be bracing behind the thigh. You might simply be resting your palm on the outside of that right hip. But we'll draw that knee in towards the armpit here. And then if you'd like, you might extend that left leg long. Breathing into the belly as you do. You can even take your left hand and pull your belly away from your thigh right here, right? Dig it into that hip crease, pull the belly away, make a little more space for that thigh up in your armpit area. Up in my armpit area, mine gets like to my belly button. It's all good. Be where you are. And then when you're ready, let's switch sides. Bend that left knee in towards the armpit. Straighten that right leg out long. You might even pull the belly in towards that inner left thigh. Bracing where feels good in your body. Knowing just hanging out here, we're getting work done. In stillness. As you lie here, can you send your breath deep into the belly? Exhale, let it melt once more deep into the belly. Exhale, let it melt. Plant the pad of that left foot down, bend that right knee, planting the pads of both feet back where we started. Let's find some windshield wipers. So we'll heel toe our feet out to about mat distance. And then when you are ready, we're going to drop our legs over towards the left and hang out here. Let the knees grow heavy. We're focusing on noticing what we can let go of, what effort we can release in the body. You'll come up onto the blade edges of your feet here, and maybe as you release these clenched muscles in the thighs, in the glutes, in the low back and low belly, maybe the feet slide a little bit away from you as you do this. Let them. Find so much ease. Give yourself permission to seek comfort here. And then on an inhale of your choice, let the knees rise up towards the ceiling. Exhale, let them fall the opposite direction. Again, letting the knees hang heavy and noticing, can you release any effort in the calves and the ankles? As the knees weight down towards the mat, we relax through the hips, through the low belly and low back. You might send your next inhale there deep into the belly, feeling the low belly expand and stretch. Exhale, relax, release it. You might even notice, can you bring ease to your face? Relax the jaw. Let your tongue float effortlessly in your mouth. Let the shoulders and the upper arms sink down into the earth. The letting go in life is every bit as important as the pressing forward, as the holding on to. This time, this practice allows us to explore the yin to life's yang. We draw ourselves into the present moment by slowing life down, by becoming acutely aware of what we feel in the body. On an inhale, let your knees rise skyward. Exhale, let them fall towards the left. And this time, let's find some movement with the breath. Each inhale, the knees draw up. Each exhale, they fall to the side. Inhale, they rise. Exhale, they fall. Focusing on the exhale, focusing on the release, seeing if we can relax the whole of the body with each exhale. And maybe we just imagine the whole body melting as we release the breath, knees hang heavy. Beautiful. From here, we'll spend some time in a figure four. So extending both the legs long. This is the first time we've extended our legs long here. You might check in with the low back, right? Notice how it feels. Have we done much or enough to warm it up? This is why we don't start our practice flat on our back. So notice the sensation in the low back. And then from here, let's find a figure four. So we're going to bend the left knee, cross the left ankle over top that right leg. And for me, my leg crosses somewhere between my shin and my thigh. So you might rest it anywhere above or below the knee, but not directly on top of the knee. And as you can see, or as you can imagine with the legs here, if you were to look directly from above, it looks like a number 4. So this is our first stop for external hip rotation, this left hip here. Noticing what you feel, any stress or strain in the low back. If we want to take this to a different level of intensity and complexity, you might begin to bend that right knee. And then from here, I plant the pad of my right foot, and I'm going to reposition my left ankle somewhere atop my right thigh. And this is going to help me to further externally rotate my hip. So you might take the palm of your left hand, find the hip crease, plant the palm on top of the thigh, and then press it away from the body here. Maybe this is where you want to hang out. If you'd like to explore a different level of intensity and complexity, You might, on an exhale, draw that right knee up in towards the chest. Woo! Knowing that this is a lot for the hip and the low back. So choose your own adventure. All of these versions are external hip rotation. They deliver the same results. As you do this, you might simply brace that left knee and foot with your hands if that feels good. Wherever you are, we'll take 3 more breaths. And then on an exhale, release that right leg, let it straighten out. Beautiful. Release that left leg. From here, when you're ready, we'll find figure 4 with the opposite leg. So right leg, the heel crosses over top of the thigh or the shin, and we let the knee hang heavy towards the right. Relaxing any left effort in this right hip area in the low back. And maybe you already know where along the spectrum you want to take your figure 4, so go there now. Maybe it's here. Maybe it's here, pressing the thigh away from the body if you like. Maybe you're holding that right knee and foot, inviting that left knee towards the torso. We'll hang out for 4 more breaths here. And I invite you to simply notice where in your physical body you're feeling this sensation. Notice if in the area of that sensation, if you are clenching or tensing any muscles. Out of habit, our body often tries to protect us. And when it feels sensation in the body, it will clench the muscles around that sensation. When our goal here is the opposite. Invite it to relax. Invite it to release. Rewire those neural pathways that create constant tension and stress in our body, that exacerbate chronic pain and fatigue. We are here retraining our brain, retraining our nervous system. It's powerful and effective. When you're ready, on an exhale, release this figure 4. We're going to find ourselves upright. So there are a few different ways you can do this. From here, with a bend in the knees, you might roll over onto the left or right side body in a fetal position, and then press yourself up into seated. You might grab the back of your thighs and rock up. But finding a seat, and this is where we're going to want that bolster, that blanket. I can't tell you the last time that I have spent a practice seated directly on my mat. It's been a life changer, a game changer. Grab a blanket, grab a bolster, grab 2 couch pillows. We don't care. Find your way onto your seat. Sitting your hips up on that blanket or that bolster, and you're just going to notice whether legs are crossed, whether one is in front of the other. Maybe your pads of your feet are together, inbound angle, just making lots of space for the belly. However you are finding this seat, let your awareness travel down into your glutes, down into your sits bones, right? Those 2 little lumps in your butt, those bones that settle down. Press down into the earth. Just notice them settled there. You might see me taking this little wiggle. It's my favorite way to just gently rock my sits bones down into deep connection with whatever prop I'm using at this time. So finding your gentle seated posture, softening your gaze or closing your eyes here will again find our breath in our body. And this time we'll explore micro movement with the breath, which we'll use many, many times throughout our practices together. And what this looks like is, as you find your seat, as you settle into this posture, focus your awareness down into the pelvis, down maybe towards the sits bones, the base of the spine there. Notice what sensations you feel in this area of the body, if any. See if you can send your next inhale down into the pelvis, down towards the base of the spine. Beautiful. Now we're going to change the visual for just a moment in our mind's eye. On your next inhale, all of this energy in the pelvis, all of this energy that's planted firmly in the earth with our sits bones, we inhale, we draw it up through the length of the spine, out the top of the head. And as we inhale, we're growing long through the spine, right? We're imagining space being created between each vertebra, bringing ease to the whole of our form here. Each inhale, drawing that energy up and out the top of the head. Just imagine it now. Moving with the pace of your own breath, each inhale growing you long. Now, as each inhale creates length, drawing that energy up, I would like each exhale to melt the shoulders from the ears, to let the arms hang heavy. So now we're inhaling, drawing that energy up through the spine, exhaling, shoulders melting away from the ears. This is our micro movement that even in stillness in this posture, we can find these tiny bits of movement that keep us increasingly present with ourselves in this moment. All right. From here, we're going to practice a forward fold. So forward folds for me are either inbound angle like this or wide-legged because I have a belly and I want to make as much space for it as possible. So you might hang out here in bound angle. For me, I'm going to spread my legs out wide. I'm going to invite my belly inside my thighs. No shame here, right? Zero shame. We invite our belly inside our thighs. We let it hang out here. And then before we do any folding, find that micro movement once again. Inhale, grow long. Exhale, let the shoulders melt. Inhale, grow long. Exhale, let the shoulders melt. Inhale, grow long. Exhale, let the shoulders melt. And as they do, let the heart center also melt towards the earth in front of you. You might bring your hands down here for support. Taking it nice and slow, finding this micro movement as you fold. Inhale, grow long. Exhale, heart center melts forward, continuing to make space for the belly. Walking the hands out to a place that feels supportive. And then hanging out, keeping this long neutral spine so we haven't let the head hang heavy just yet. Our neck is in alignment with the torso. Each breath lets the heart center grow heavy here. Nice and slow. And you might from here walk your hands over to the right, leaving your belly where it's at, right? So we're just walking our upper body, our rib cage over top this right thigh, and then hanging out. Heart center still grows heavy. You might relax through the left side of the back, really feeling that left sit bone settle down onto the mat as the heart center grows heavy here. And then when you're ready, walk your hands over to the opposite side. Keeping that belly tucked between the thighs, we turn the rib cage alone. And we breathe. Walk our hands back to neutral. And from here, you might now let the head hang heavy. Let the forehead hang heavy towards the earth, creating this C shape with our spine down. Hang it out, letting it be. Notice where in the body you feel this. Maybe it's the neck. Maybe it's the low back, the hips. Maybe it's all the way down the back of the legs towards the calves and the heels. So many places to experience this. And no place is right or wrong. It just is. And making space for that in our practice gives us strength and power. The ability to just let things be, not good or bad. They just are. And we allow it. When you're ready, curl up vertebra by vertebra, rising tall, nice and slow until the head is stacked above the shoulders. Beautiful. From here, let's find our way into tabletop. I'm going to pull my pants back up for the moment. And then we want to make tabletop easy, easy, easy on the body. Maybe that means that we take our blanket or bolster and we place it up underneath our knees. Maybe that means that we take another blanket or bolster and place it up underneath our wrists. Maybe we do this against the bed or against the couch on our shins, everything, or on our shins, on our forearms. Everything that we do here in tabletop, you can do propped up on a couch, a bed, or an extra bolster. So find what feels good in your body and do not apologize for it because it is beautiful, it is right, and you are worthy of it. Hanging out with your knees somewhat below the hips, palms somewhat below the shoulders, somewhere that feels stable to you. Finding this neutral spine. So our gaze is down towards the mat. We're imagining that we are a table for this moment. Maybe children are having tea atop us. Finding joy and wonder in the world as we hang out. Strong and neutral. Begin to soften the muscles in the front of the belly. Whatever you're holding, let it go. Let the belly relax towards the earth. Send your next inhale deep down into it and see what else can melt. As the belly melts, release any effort in the spine. And as the belly grows heavy, the spine will start to sag just a little bit. And you might notice your tailbone curling up towards the ceiling. Let it. The belly hangs low here. Breathing into it. And then on your next inhale, send your heart center forward along with your gaze. You might invite your gaze as far skyward as feels comfortable for you. Pressing through the chin. Feeling the front of the throat grow taut here. If you cough, that's okay, let it. That means this stretch is a loving, loving gesture. Breathe here, deep into the front of the throat, deep into the belly. Fill the body all the way. We're exploring cow in a whole new way here. Just nice and slow. Feeling it fully. Relaxing the whole of the belly, letting that tailbone curl up towards the sky. You might imagine there's a string tied from the tailbone to the back of your head, and that string gently pulls taut. On your next exhale, we'll explore cat, pressing the mat away, curling the spine, dropping the head heavy, finding this cat-like posture here. We're going to hang out. This time, the tailbone curls towards the belly button, and it might be helpful to imagine that string that was once tied to the back of your head is now tied from tailbone to your forehead, and it gently pulls tight beneath you. Pressing through your palms, feeling the shoulders separate can aid you in this C shape. Beautiful. Hanging out here for as long as you like. And on an inhale, when you're ready, dropping the belly low, once more finding cow. Exhale, moving into cat. Let's continue to move back and forth at the pace of our own breath. We've explored this posture deeply with the mind's eye, hanging out and noticing sensation. Can we find those sensations now as we move more quickly with the breath? Back and forth. Our spine says thank you. On an inhale, find that neutral tabletop once more. Let's walk our hands towards our body. We're going to come up onto our knees, and I'm going to face you for this portion of class because it will be easier for you to see what we're up to. So on our knees here, ooh, top of my head's cut off. On our knees here, we're going to extend our left leg out towards the left, and we're going to plant the whole of the foot. And then from here, we're going to take a half child's pose. So I'm going to sit my hip back towards my right heel. I'm going to come down onto my hands. Hanging out like this, and maybe there's not a whole lot of pressure on my hands. My belly is sort of resting atop my thigh. And I am focusing on releasing any effort, releasing the muscles in that left inner thigh. Letting it hang heavy here. This is a modification of child's pose, and one that I really, really enjoy for loosening up the inner thighs. And then from here, you might find a twist option to plant that right forearm. And on an inhale, sweep the left arm out towards the left and then upwards towards the ceiling. So I'm keeping my forearm planted here. The fingertips of my left hand pressing up. And then if you'd like, you might press into the palm of that right hand, straighten that arm out, and then further explore this twist with that right arm fully extended. Taking an inhale deep into the belly before exhaling, sweeping that left arm down. Let's rise all the way up. Let's draw this left leg back in before extending the right leg long, planting the whole of the pad of that foot, and then sitting back towards that left heel. Walking our hands forward, relaxing through this right inner thigh. Let it stretch. Breathe into it. Notice what you can release and let go, maybe tension in the glutes. And then if you would like, hanging out here, turning it into a twist. So I'm planting my left forearm, I'm sweeping my right arm up overhead. And then you might hang out here, or you might plant the palm of that hand, straighten that left arm out. And then see if you can sink any further into this twist, the back of that right hand, almost pressing towards the wall behind you. One more deep breath into the belly. And as you exhale, bring that right hand back down. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We'll come up once more onto hands and knees for broken toe posture. I'm going to reorient myself once again, but feel free to stay where you are. Broken toe posture looks like this. It's fairly simple. It sounds as horrible as it feels, but there is a purpose to it. So from our knees, we'll curl our toes on the mat and check in with ourselves, right? This might be enough sensation. And we're focusing on the sensation on the back sides of our toes, right? We're pulling and gently stretching the fascia that is attached all the way from our toes up the back of our legs, up our hips, and into our shoulders and neck. It's all connected. And so when we stretch the fascia in our toes, we're releasing tension in the entirety of our back body. This comes with a lot of sensation, with a pretty low risk of injury, which is why we use it, this practice, this asana, to explore it. And let me explain. You can hang out like this, toes curled, and this might be the sensation that you're looking for in the toes, or you might sit your hips slowly back towards your heels, knowing that the further you sit your hips back, the further the toes will flex. The further we stretch that fascia, the more intense feedback that we get, because there are 70% more nerve endings in the fascia of your body than there are in the muscles. So when we struggle with chronic pain, like I do, so often the pain is carried in the fascia, right? The nerves of the fascia. So it's important that we love and focus some of our efforts there. Continuing to breathe, knowing that you can rise up and relieve or sit back further and explore even greater intensity. And I'm going to invite you to, for the next 5 or 6 seconds, explore a level of intensity that invites you to be aware, but doesn't distract you, make you clench, right? None of our coping skills to get through the sensation. We want to be in it. We want the sensation to be why we're here. Just a few more seconds. What do you feel in the toes of the feet? And then when you're ready, coming down onto your hands, releasing the toes, and I slap them against the earth. Feels really good to do that for as long as you like. And you might get some ankle circles. Ooh, wiggle those toes. They've done so good, so good, so good. We only have about 15 minutes left in our practice. So once again, let's meet on our backs where we started. Grab your pillow, grab your blanket, keep it handy. We're going to use it to end our practice. So making our way back onto our backs, bending the knees, planting the pads of the feet once more. Take stock. What would you like to do? Would you like to tuck your shoulder blades towards one another, creating a little more room in the chest for your breath? Would you like to resettle the tailbone back on the mat? Find any shifts, stretches, adjustments you can make. Just find ease to settle in here, to become effortless for a moment. And then we're going to turn this into a twist. So 2 options here. Option 1, keep the pads of your feet planted and heel toe your feet until your knees and thighs are sort of touching. You can hang out here. The other option is to bring the knees up towards the chest, and we're either going to brace behind the legs or on top of the knees. So wherever you are, we will turn this into a twist by letting both knees hang heavy towards the left. And as the knees hang heavy towards the left, we're going to tee our arms out wide and invite our shoulders to melt down onto the mat. And we're going to do this messy. So as we release effort in the low back, the low belly, and the thighs, if the legs slide, if the feet slide, let them, right? We're not here to make any perfect or specific shape. We're just here to move, to be, to feel. So let's do that. We'll hang out here, breathing into the low belly and the low back, letting each exhale melt us further into this posture. On your next inhale, let the knees rise back up towards the ceiling, either planting the pads of our feet or drawing the knees in towards the chest. And then when you are ready, let the knees fall towards the opposite side. Tee the arms out wide if you like, inviting the shoulders to melt down towards the earth. Now they might touch your mat, they might not. There's no wrong way to be here. It's just the being here that's powerful. And we've been lied to thinking it had to be perfect, thinking that we couldn't be here well enough or just right enough for it to count or matter. Turns out, any way that you are choosing to show up is beautiful, is enough. Don't be discouraged. Breathing into the body, relaxing the belly, relaxing the thighs, letting the body shift and slide as it will to create just a little more ease in our release here. And then when you're ready, on an inhale, we'll draw those knees back up to the sky. We'll plant the pads of our feet and we're going to come into restorative bridge. So this is where we want our blanket or our pillow handy. I'm going to walk my heels of my feet towards my bum. I'm going to shimmy my shoulder blades towards one another, opening up in the chest, planting the backs of my arms firmly on the mat. And when I'm ready, pressing through the pads of your feet, you lift your pelvis towards the ceiling, right? I'm squeezing my glutes, I'm squeezing my butt cheeks. And from here, grabbing that blanket, grabbing that pillow, sliding it beneath your pelvis. And if this doesn't feel good, simply roll onto the side of your body. Tuck the blanket up underneath and roll back onto it. Wherever we are, we're just going to find our hips propped up slightly by this blanket. And we'll find some ease here doing some hip circles. So planting through the pad of that right foot, we'll press gently through that right foot as we lift our left knee towards the ceiling. So it's not towards my chest. I just want my knee to point towards the ceiling. And then imagining that the tip of my knee is a pencil, I want to draw little circles on the ceiling. You might let those circles start out small, in whichever direction feels good. Just noticing how it feels to draw those circles, how the body reacts, what you feel as you make these rotations, what stretches, what aches. And then let those circles grow. Take a moment to see how large of circles you might be able to draw with this left knee. Nice and big. And then reverse directions. Big circles. Let's do 4 or so in the opposite direction. And then plant the pad of that left foot. Ooh, shake that left knee out, right? Shake the knees out, maybe both for that balance. Just want to shake out that hip. Give it some love before we switch sides. So planting through the pad of that left foot, I'm lifting my right knee towards the ceiling. I'm drawing circles in the direction of my choice, and letting them grow and grow each rotation. Breathing deep into my belly as I do this. 3 or so more times, and then we'll switch directions. Noticing how these rotations feel in the opposite direction. You might start to ache or burn here, and just notice. Twice more or so, and then we'll plant the pad of that right foot. Beautiful. From here, we'll extend our legs out long. The bolster beneath our low back, pressing our pelvis forward. Now, this might feel good. This might be too much for the low back. So whether you're hanging out here or whether you've once again found that gentle bend in the knees and planted the pads of the feet, we'll remain here for a few more breaths, being where you are. You might even, for the close of your practice, settle on a simple mantra of I am here. Each inhale, you might think I am. With each exhale, you might think here. Repeating it to yourself with the breath again and again, letting your mantra ring true. I am here. From wherever you are, find that bend in the knees. We'll walk the heels once more towards the glutes, pressing into the pads of the feet, pulling that bolster or blanket aside, resting it out of the way, and finding our final Shavasana. With 5 minutes left, we're going to take our Shavasana in whatever way our body is asking. And while traditionally Shavasana is done, this corpse pose with arms and legs outstretched, releasing fully, you might grab your blanket or your bolster and place it beneath your head during this time. You might bring some ease to the low back by placing it beneath the knees. Choose you. This morning, choose your ultimate comfort. Whatever allows you to remain present in your body for the next few minutes. And as you settle into whatever that is, wherever that is, you might invite your awareness once more into the tips of your toes. You could give them a little wiggle if that feels good. And then ultimately inviting them to stillness, allowing them to find ease, the toes melting on your feet, along with your ankles, your calves, relaxing your knees and your thighs, releasing your hips, letting the glutes melt down effortlessly into the earth. You might send your next inhale deep into the belly, feel it expand and fill. And as you exhale, invite the belly to melt and release, along with the heart center, your chest and shoulders, your upper arms releasing of all effort, melting along with your lower arms, the palms of each of your hands, and every fingertip. Can you imagine relaxing your fingertips? Your awareness now traveling to the throat, releasing any effort in the front of the throat, unclenching the jaw, finding ease and effortlessness for the tongue, the cheeks, your lips, unfurrowing your brow, letting your forehead relax and melt, even relaxing your scalp and every hair on your head. Can you imagine what it would feel like? Relaxing every hair on your head. As you settle into physical stillness, know that the mind likes to wander. And now that the body is not moving as distraction, it might wander all the more. And that's okay. Each time your mind wanders, each time it distracts you from your body, from your presence, just acknowledge it's trying to help. And then once you realize it, invite your awareness back into the body, back into the breath, your natural inhales and exhales, noticing the sensation that such small, gentle, and automatic movement brings to your physical form. And for just a couple more minutes, relax into the stillness of Shavasana. When you're ready, you might deepen the breath in your body, filling it intentionally, nice and full, before releasing the breath all the way. Let this exaggerated inhale and exhale be the movement that begins to awaken the body. And then when you're ready, you might invite that movement into the fingers and the toes. Notice what they feel in temperature as you move them, what they feel in texture if they're touching anything. Just take note, explore, and witness the beauty that is your experience. You might bring that movement further up into the ankles and the wrists, inviting it into the arms and the legs, doing something that in somatics we call pandiculation. And that is when you yawn and stretch and move. Maybe there is no yawning, maybe there is, but take a moment and explore any which way that your body might like to shift and move. We imagine we are reawakening after a long sleep. Anything that feels good to you, no apologies, no need to explain yourself. Just feel it, knowing that pandiculation is healing. Wild, huh? When you are ready, finding that bend in the knees, and then letting the knees fall to the right or left, Coming onto the side body, supporting your head with your upper arm or a blanket or pillow if that's nearby. And from this place, we take just a moment to soak in any portions of our practice that we want to bring with us when we leave. Any moments of feeling, any lessons or epiphanies. Maybe we want to just take the sense of relaxation, the awareness of our breath. And then when you're ready, press yourself up into an easy seated posture. Maybe you find that blanket once more. Legs might be crossed. Maybe you've got one in front of the other. Maybe legs are out wide. Who cares how we end? As long as we're present here. If you'd like, you might bring your palms together in Anjali Mudra at the heart center. On your next inhale, feel the chest expand, the heart rise to meet the thumbs. As you exhale, option to take a gentle bow in the head. We end our practice by showing gratitude to ourselves for showing up. You did the hard work. You made the choice. The work we do here is not easy, but it's healing and empowering. It helps us settle into our own self-knowing and know that we can trust us. We can trust ourselves, our experience.